Hello, fourth graders. I'm excited to be here with you today. We will continue to learn about how communities evolve. You will need a piece of paper and a pencil for today's lesson. Please pause this video so you can get your paper and pencil. This is the Grade 4, Unit 7, Day 3 lesson. The essential question that I'd like you to keep in mind is, how do communities evolve? By the end of this lesson, you will have used a highlighter or sticky note tool to annotate the text to find text evidence. You will also have prepared a written response to a question using text evidence to support your thinking. Hopefully, you have read or listened to chapters 1 and 2 of Settling the West before today's lesson. Settling the West is about people who lived and moved to the American West in the 1800s. The map on page 2 shows the land that was called the West. The photographs and illustrations on pages 4 through 9 show the landscape of the West. They show how the settlers traveled and the new towns they built. You may push pause to look again at the photographs and illustrations on pages 4 through 9 to gain a better understanding of how the settlers traveled and the new towns that they built. Our focus today is on how good readers distinguish between important and interesting details to find text evidence to answer a question. I'm going to turn the page to Chapter 1, page 6. The question that we are going to answer today is, what is a gold rush? We are going to keep that question in mind as we're reading the first part of this chapter. On page 6 of the text, we see the word rush in bold print. Using what I know about text features, rush is probably in the glossary. I'm going to click on rush to bring me to the glossary. In the glossary, it says that rush is a large movement of people to a new place in search of something such as gold or land. I'm not going to highlight this, but I will keep it as background information to help me understand the text. Now I'm going to go back to page 6 and reread this section, the first paragraph, to see if there are any important details to highlight. You may choose to either pause this video to reread page 6, the first paragraph, or listen to it as it is read to you. Remember, you are looking for any important details.
Chapter 1. The Early Settlers. Gold. After California's gold rush of 1849, few Americans expected to hear that magic word again. But in 1858, prospectors did find gold again. They struck gold near Pikes Peak at the eastern edge of the Rocky Mountains.
As I reread that first paragraph of chapter 1, I see that it says, but in 1858, prospectors did find gold again. This is important because it tells me that they found it before. I am going to highlight this sentence. The word prospectors is hard for me, but I can infer that prospectors are people that are searching for gold. Let's keep reading. In this last sentence, it says, they struck gold near Pikes Peak at the eastern edge of the Rocky Mountains. This tells me where they struck or found gold, but it doesn't explain the meaning of what is a gold rush. This is an interesting fact, but it's not important in answering my question, what is a gold rush? You may choose to either pause this video to reread paragraph 2 or to listen to it as it is read to you. Remember, we're looking for important details answering the question, what is a gold rush?
The rush was on. Within months, thousands of wagons rolled across the Great Plains to Pikes Peak in search of gold. Pikes Peak or bust became a popular slogan. Many gold seekers scrawled it in huge letters on the sides of their wagons. As soon as they reached the foothills of the Rockies, the newcomers set up tents and shacks and got to work. They didn't find much gold that year, but businesses of all kinds sprang up in the mining camps.
The word rush is used again in the beginning of this paragraph. This tells me that it could be an important detail. And I learned that within months, thousands of wagons rolled across the Great Plains in search of gold. I'm going to highlight this sentence as important because it explains how many people rushed to find the gold. Within months, thousands of wagons rolled across the Great Plains in search of gold. I also learned that gold seekers wrote the slogan, Pikes Peak or bust, on the sides of their wagons. I think this is very interesting, but again, it does not answer my question, what is a gold rush? Then I read that the newcomers set up tents and shacks and got to work. This explains that during the gold rush, people lived in tents and shacks so they could start working right away. They were rushed to find gold. So I'm going to highlight the newcomers set up tents and shacks and got to work. The last important detail here is down at the bottom, businesses of all kinds sprang up in the mining camps. I'm going to highlight this because it explains that during the gold rush, businesses opened up in order to support the miners. Now I've highlighted 4 sentences that help me better understand what is a gold rush. That means I now have text evidence to explain my thinking when I answer the question, what is a gold rush? I'm going to open up this document, and it asks us, what is a gold rush? I took the 4 sentences that I highlighted in this portion of the text to answer my question, what is a gold rush? We said on page 6 that prospectors found gold again in 1958. That's in my own words, so I don't have to put quotations around it. However, also on page 6, I found within months, thousands of wagons rolled across the Great Plains in search of gold. This is copied directly from the text, so I put quotation marks around this bit of text evidence. The newcomers set up tents and shacks and got to work. Again, is copied directly from the text, so I need to use quotation marks. My last bit of text evidence was when it said that businesses of all kinds sprang up in the mining camps. Again, I used quotation marks to cite my evidence because I copied it directly from the text. Now, the question that I'm being asked is, what is a gold rush? And now I can use my text evidence to write a short answer response. What is a gold rush? A gold rush occurs after gold is found in an area. Many prospectors rush to the area to find gold. Often other businesses open nearby to support the miners. Today, you will begin to collect text evidence to a different question. Why would people risk so much to settle in the West? You will answer this question over 2 lessons. Your job today is to reread chapters 1 and 2 and to fill in this graphic organizer with your evidence answering the question, why would people risk so much to settle in the West? This lesson will take 2 periods. You will gather text evidence to write a response to the question, why would people risk so much to settle in the West? Today, your job is to look at chapters 1 and 2. For your next lesson, you will be looking at chapters 3 and the conclusion. You will use both graphic organizers to help you answer the question, why would people risk so much to settle in the West? Just like we answered the question, what is a gold rush, using text evidence.